Well, hello everyone. It looks like it's time for the stock market to have opened. I've actually been working through some technical difficulties. As a matter of fact, one of the logistical parts that I ran into today was actually where exactly to stream this from. So I ended up having to move from my normal location up to, well, I'm actually sitting in my daughter's fuzzy chair, and there's even a Harry Potter sign behind me here. So a little bit crazy, but we get that to work out. I actually have improved things that now we can actually have a screen share. So if we check it out, I got WEBULL up here. And if I go over to WEBULL, switch it over to AMC and see how things are shaping up there, because that's something that's really been pumping lately for us. So there we go. Here I've been taking my picture out of things for a little bit just so that we can see how things are looking on this chart. So currently still sitting within that range between that $52 up to like $59 or $60. We're sitting in that range, and we'll really see how the volume plays out. So let me move this a little bit. So right now we're looking at the 30-minute chart. There we go. Let's switch down to 5 minutes and see what we can see. There we go. So you can see that we have some decent volume coming into the opening hours. So we have 15 million shares traded so far. And I mean, we're still waiting for that short squeeze to play out and really seeing what takes place with it over time. There we go. The volume beat I reported in my earlier video today. We actually have Clover Health is also actually pumping quite a bit. And it looks like, wow, we hit top price like $59. So we're still hitting that resistance. And we'll see really how this plays out. If the shorts are going to cover and really cause that short squeeze to happen, the question is still out there. Are we going to hit that $100 price target? And we'll happen to see. I did take a small position on AMC yesterday in solidarity, looking for that equitable opportunity within the markets, that we should have the same opportunity to make money in these markets as anybody in the hedge funds would happen to do. And really overcoming that idea that there would be market manipulation happening for these stocks, where it just they get overly shorted, the prices get pushed down, and it doesn't even give the companies a fair fighting chance. Let's take a look at Clover Health. There we go. And boy, that's coming out strong. Currently trading around $18 a share. I want to go to the 30-minute chart just so I can see a little bit more with what we're looking at in these time frames. And it's just been really ripping up. Look at that beautiful pennant formation that we had with that breakout taking place. I was really hoping to catch a little bit more of this with some of the technical issues that I'm still facing working on this live stream. Let me bring my beautiful face back into this. There we go. Have that chart alongside of it. So we got decent volume coming out of Clover Health right now. And there we are. Currently almost 70 million shares sold on this one. And, we could see continued strength come out of this. We could see a squeeze coming out on that. Another one that I wanted to look at that was showing a lot of pre-market volume is a company, Sonam Technology. I don't know anything about this one, but they did have some fairly high volumes in the early morning hours. And you can't really see it in the pre-market here. It gets muted by this big volume spike that we had. But we have this rip up on no news whatsoever. And so this sort of momentum play, I honestly thought that we would see a sell-off right at the beginning of this. Now we'll see how this thing plays out over time. And we'll drill back down to the 5-minute chart. There we go. So far, it seems to be handling it pretty well. If we look at the pre-market hours for like a sort of line of support around 68 cents, it looks like it sold down as far as 66 cents, and it's currently trading for about 72 cents. Now, with this volume spike we have, if we don't see this one penetrate too deeply into this one, we could see this this high here serve as sort of an area of support moving forward for SONM. I see this as like an intraday play, sort of a momentum play, and we can really hope to see some incredible movement take place from there. Let's go look at BlackBerry. They've been trading sort of like AMC has. They didn't have the same ride that Clover Health has been showing. As a matter of fact, even just that brief look at the 5-minute chart there, yeah, it looks like we traded strongly coming off this double bottom in the pre-market hours, and these big red candles, and then we have that that decent volume that we have. So BlackBerry doesn't look like it's faring as well as Clover Health. There we go. Wow, look at the long wicks on that candle right there. So this can continue to trade down a little bit before rubber banding back up. I wonder if we'll revisit this bottom that we saw in the pre-market hours from earlier today. So a lot of trading, really a lot of battle testing going on here, and volatility with BlackBerry. Something else that I reported on today was ticker symbol NEXT in my video that I put out for the pre-market. And this one just had two different price target upgrades. One of $6 by Morgan Stanley, and then I think Evercore was the other one, putting out a $9 price tag on this thing over the next 12 months. And just look at this thing take off. So if you're fortunate enough to watch my video between 9 a.m. and 9:30 and get into this, I mean, we're already seeing, I think it was like at 425 when I reported on this, and it's pushing that $5 mark. We could see some excellent momentum come out of this one. Again, a company that I don't really cover, but one that the volume and the upgraded price targets led to at least a short-term play on this. At long positions, of course, because I'm typically, like most traders, I mostly take long-term positions. The only short-term trades that whenever I take up a short position, the only time that I would take a short position would be for a short-term trend. It would definitely not be nothing betting against a company, but more betting against the current trends that I happen to see with them as like an intraday sort of play. So I think that we might just break that $5 mark here. Let's take a look at the daily chart so you can see the kind of performance that we're having from Next. And this is an energy play. We had a gap up yesterday and just another huge gap up today. I don't think that we're done watching this thing run. So we had that big volume spike leading to more volume today, and just incredible performance so far. And let's zoom back out. There we go. So we have this high back over here, and let's zoom in just a little bit so I can see what high it is that I'm looking at. So a high of $5.11. So we could run into resistance around there for today. So if you're already in this one, you're looking for a place to get out, somewhere around the $5 mark might actually be that place. If we go past the $5.11, we could really see a lot of strength come out of this. Let's look at the weekly chart to see more what's going on. All right, so in the weekly chart, there you can see a little bit more. So this is forming up to possibly an area of resistance for us just above the $5. So $5 or so, or $4.90 up to $5. And we'll see if we have enough to really break out of it. But this is, on the weekly chart, the biggest volume that this company has ever put out. And it looks like it originally traded somewhere around $10 per share, and then it fell off to about $7.50, and then $6.70. And look at the bottom that we have here. Those three low prices that we have. So we're actually trading somewhere around those prices that we have. And then we had this low point, which we've already passed $3. We're well beyond that by this point. Let's zoom in so we can see a little bit more of what's going on. So again, this is the weekly chart on Next, and looks like it's had an incredible week so far, and breaking this area of resistance that we have gives us a fair amount of room up to, we could see another like 20% or so, even a little bit more than that, maybe 22, 23% above that before we hit the next area of resistance that we can see over here. And so we'll see if that plays out. Honestly, I think that this one has potential. According to the analyst estimates that are out there, I don't have my research or due diligence in on this one, but I'm just saying it's an opportunity for you to put that work in. And, you know, it's also one that I'm looking at. So for something that would have another 20% upside to Morgan Stanley's from its current trading price right now of around $5 up to that $6, and almost going up over 2x from where it's at right now. I'm sorry, not quite that. We're above that now. Almost 2x potential for what Evercore sees over the next 12 months. They went from a $3 price target up to a $9 price target. So they tripled what they originally saw for this company from when they first did their coverage on it to the next time, this most recent time that they did the coverage on it. So we'll see this energy play as it rolls out, what all takes place on that. Another one I want to take a look at is Thor Industries. And they either do campers or RVs, but the reason that I bring this one up is I want to move from the weekly chart to the daily chart. There we go. So this one, not really all that strong performance. They did have a nice beat on in some of their areas for their earnings. So when you look at this one, they're sitting right at support right now. That if you're looking for a play now, mind you, look at that recent sell-off that they've had. This is one that really benefited from the pandemic and people wanting to get outdoors. If we hold this support, we're in really good shape. So what you could possibly do if you're looking at this as a short-term play is that you could buy into this and then put a stop somewhere around, you, I guess, depending on, let's look at the upside. So up to about here, up to $122. So that's $7 up from there. So you could allow it go $3.50 down. That would give you a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And, you know, that could possibly be a decent play, and it has a fair amount of upside potential. If you look at the analyst estimates that are out there, we are currently sitting near what we're looking at, 120, 142, 160. I like to look at the average of that. So another $20 from where it's at right now. It's like a 20% upside potential. I think TipRanks has that around 20 to 25% as well. So that's the daily chart. Let's look intraday. Woo! All right, boy, look at that. So we had these nice pre-market, but this is all low volume stuff until we get to this this last candle that we have from the 8:30 to 9 o'clock hour, and then it's really sold off. I think that this one is going to rebound. I think you could probably scrape a couple of dollars off that one. We just need to watch for signs of a turnaround. So let's drill down even further. There we are. So we might watch this. I wouldn't be surprised if the next candle that we get is green if we start looking at a double bottom support here, turning this thing around. Of course, you could always look at the level 2 and see what else that would have to say for this one to see where more of that support is. As a matter of fact, let me go to a different view that actually has that level 2 shown on it. There we go. All right, that's AMC. All right, keep rocking AMC. The fact that this last candle's up this high is a good thing. But let me get to THO for a moment. All right, so that's the daily chart. Let's go down to the 5-minute chart. All right, so if you take a look here at the order book that we actually have a fair amount of support taking place here. And then look at the sell side of that, what we see is that there's really no price walls or anything. Really, we have quite a bit of ways until we really run into that. And I'll have to take a look and see, where's my other level 2? I'll have to pull that one to see the order depth. But I think that that 115, if that keeps on serving as support for us, if that holds, I think they're in really good shape. But check out the Bollinger Bands that I have on this. Right now, we are trading under that 2 standard deviations below the mean. So this thing, these are highly unusually low prices for this 5-minute time frame. So this is something that we could see tend back towards the mean. You can see it is pulling pretty sharply downward. Let me go back out to the 30-minute. Yeah, so we are starting to settle, and remember, $115 is about the support level for this. So we could really see this this turn around and that support to hold. It's held in the past, and it's possible it can hold again, especially in the face of the earnings beats. And they expect that their orders to continue strong through 2022 based on the current orders that they have. Look at the RSI that we have here for that daily chart. Now, then we did hit like an oversold here. And then moving forward from there, we still are in bearish territory. So momentum-wise, there's just not a lot of momentum going for this right now. Here we'll toss up the MACD. So on the MACD, if you look at that, momentum's not there. We want that to become stronger. We want to hit it at least 50 to cross over into bullish territory. We are nearing a buy signal here when we get that crossover with the signal line and the MACD. So be on the lookout for that as these days play out, we might have that happen. Let's move on to some of the more interesting ones. All right. Churchill Capital. Here's one that I'm bullish on, Lucid Motors, and it looked like it peaked out there. A high when we opened at about $27.88. So we had a double top resist just under $28. So that'd be important to note for the day. And when you see this long leg candle like we have right here, this could be signs for us that this thing's going to flip around on us. So we might see this thing start reversing on us. And as a matter of fact, we could see that really start to turn around. So somewhere around 26.70, or even if we go down to the bottom of these wicks right here for some of the low prices. So down to like 26.50. And then I said before about 26.70. So there's like an area of support. And even if you look back in here to the previous day, it might be a little bit more telling. So if you think of like a floor becomes the ceiling, that we could also look at this double top right here that we had as a resistance, now sort of as a support, coming over even to what we have here. CCIV is another high short interest play. And there's also the idea that I think it was Rivian who came out with like a $50 to $70 billion valuation, and that Lucid should certainly be in competition with them. And their production is supposed to start going out. The deliveries for the Lucid Air is supposed to start in the second half of 2021. So we'll watch this take place. You might be able to make a short-term play out of this one as well. And it looks like we're still getting a fair amount of downward pressure that we're still contending over who's going to take control next over this short time frame. The bulls or the bears on this one, or if it's a one that would be considered overly shorted, maybe even the apes would come into this one. Thank you, Trey, for that terminology. So pretty cool to see this this stuff play out. ChargePoint is one that has also recently seen a lot of recovery. All right, and if we look at the high on this candle right here, it finally broke that $30 resist that we had, if only momentarily, but we did break over it. So we had immediate drop for leading up to the market open, and then it looks like on volume that it came back strong. I want to see the daily chart, see how the volume's shaping up on this one. All right, so volume shaping up pretty well. You can see that march upward that is taken, and we get this awesome area of support right here. Something to really count on that would help us determine what our risk would look like if this thing does start to turn around on us, and if it does happen to fall again. It's a company that I believe also just had a lot of the tech sell-off, high growth sell-off, inflation fears, and it's really recovered nicely since then, making it over this double top resist that we have here at that $32. That's going to be huge for us. If we make it back up over that, then we have a lot of room leading us up into the next area, possibly around like that $36 mark, and then we start to get more into where we see the analyst estimates for the 12-month price targets. So ChargePoint could shape up to be a pretty good day. It's nice to see this volume increasing. That tells us that we also have a momentum increase. So if I go to my indicators here and pop up the RSI on that one, you can see the strength that we had building for it. And we're nearing that overbought territory. So really it's a matter of if we're going to see the RSI go above 70 and this momentum continue. And really that volume indicator, when you start to see the volume taper off and we're in the overbought territory, that could be an indicator that the price is going to start turning around on us. I think that right now we're going to see that continue as long as the market bias allows it to continue. Toss the MACD up there. You can see back here we had a buy signal on that one, and we haven't even hit these. The MACD and the signal line are still separate, that we have the MACD above the signal line. So we're still in bullish territory by the RSI, and we haven't hit that sell signal yet for anybody who would be in this for short term. For me, this is a long-term hold with the EV plays, the high growth plays, the recovery plays, and I really enjoyed ChargePoint. I was in this one originally back at, I think, mid to high 20s was my original position. I sold out a couple times in the 40s as we went through this different volatile phase that we had going on. And I'm going to take another look intraday. There we go. It's nice to see those volumes taking place. And it does look like it's resting a little bit. If we go up to just a slightly higher time frame, let's try 10 minutes. There we go. If you take a look at the 10-minute chart, the fact that we're staying up here and not dropping back down, our RSI is still looking pretty good, that it's breaking up above these previous peaks, and that we had, it's kind of funny. You can't really go by the MACD so much when you have this sort of sideways trading. It's really when you look at the RSI and the MACD, it's better for momentum when you have movements to the upside or the downside quickly where that momentum is taking place. We could see ChargePoint break higher depending on what the markets are saying. As a matter of fact, if we go to this part of WEBULL and we take a look, and let's maximize this so it's bigger on your screens. There we are. take a look at the NASDAQ. It opened way up for us. That's a nice thing. The Dow still settling a little bit. So we see this is probably more of that rotation. The fact that the two are kind of inversely shaped from one another. And then let's take a look at where's the S&P. There it is. The S&P kind of somewhere in between. It looks like it's deciding what it wants to track between. But we've seen a lot of strength recently with the NASDAQ and with like the Russell 2000 and Russell 3000 plays. Speaking of which, let's take a look at another one of my favorites, BNGO. All right, so on BNGO, yeah, it's had a pretty good run up recently. So when you take a look at that, these are some good days that it had for it in the past. We'll go to the daily chart to get more of an idea of what it's been doing recently. You can see we have that gap up. Look at the RSI just climbing beautifully, bringing that strength in, and then you can see the MACD right here that gave us a buy signal early on, and then we haven't quite hit where that convergence of those two. So according to the momentum that we have here, we haven't quite hit that sell signal part of this yet. So BNGO, it's one that I think it trades a lot on its hype and on its expectation, and that it very much is a momentum play or a long-term hold. And right now it sort of has that momentum. So if you got back into this when those prices bottomed out, below $5, I mean, you just saw a significant amount, like a 60% upside already, over 60%. To where it's currently trading at today, 867, and we're still trading pretty well above where yesterday's close was. So we're actually in decent shape. So we're about 3% up. All right. So overall, I'd say that we have a decent look in the markets. Let's minimize this one. There we go, and take a look at these movers. So there, look at next. We broke resistance. Let's go back to that one. This is pretty cool because I saw it moving on volume, and also looked at the news that surrounded it. And so between the volume and the news, just to see such a beautiful increase that we have there. This is again looking at the daily chart, and I mentioned 511-ish would be about the resistance that we had, and that we wanted to see it break that. And on the 5-minute chart, there we topped out at $5.89. I gotta get new glasses. I keep on having to squint at this stuff. There we go. Come back over here and make that screen a little bit bigger for you guys. There we go. So you can see if we look at the RSI that we went into that overbought territory, and then we crossed back down. So we could see this thing set a little bit and maybe kind of rest, take a breather, because it has had a lot of upside movement recently. It was just trading in the 3s, and now it's trading up over $5 per share. And so let's use the Bollinger Bands on this low time frame, and you can see we made it outside 2 standard deviations. This one, the entire candle was up above, and so that's almost certainly a sign between that and the RSI that we have here and the MACD, and that we're going to settle a little bit, and so far we have. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing continues to maybe come back down towards the mean a little bit, but then carry on even higher yet. We have room up into the 6s before we really hit the resistance, at least on the longer time frames. So we would actually have to look more into the shorter time frames in order to see any other hidden resistance that we might happen to have. And even if we take a look at some of the level 2 on this one, I need to set this up so it's a little bit better for live streaming here. There we go. All right, so check it out. We don't quite have a vertical here, but we are getting a decent price wall taking place. Unfortunately for me, my eyeballs are too bad. Oh man, yeah, look at that. That's a strong area of resistance that we hit right there. We're going to see a lot of selling. Look at that. We have that support just sort of caving in on it. And then when you look over here, this sell side pressure that we have, it's going to have a tough time making over that. Really want to see that sell side pressure reduce. We want to see the buy side pressure increase. And this stock is just, oh wow, yeah, check it out. It went up over 540. We are in just some really exciting times. So for you day traders out there, this is one that you can have it move wildly a few cents, and depending on the volume of shares that you trade, you could make your lunch money on this, or chicken dinner, as some of my Patreons refer to it, easily on a stock like this that's moving as quickly as it is. All right, guys. Well, it's moving on to that 10 o'clock hour, and you know, I really want to come out, try out live streaming again, and hopefully for tomorrow, I'm ready to go. For prior to market open, I was having a lot of trouble getting my camera set up and everything. I hope that you guys found some plays. You're gonna have to let me know in the comments. Matter of fact, let me take a look over at YouTube, and I'm kind of getting used to finding everything. So, what website you using? This is WEBULL. Oh yeah, thanks. Oxygen, Julian, if you're still in here, I'll check out Oxygen for you quickly before I close this thing up. So let me go back to my screen share. There we go. And I'll go into Oxygen. We'll see what's going on there. All right, let me close out some of these indicators just to have a clearer view of what we have on the price action. So Oxygen has really, I think since this candle right here, I think the news came out, and correct me if I'm wrong because I don't track Oxygen specifically, but I believe that they are vaccine for India. So a COVID-19 solution that we're looking at. And we've had quite an increase here. We want to see this thing settle a little bit so that way it doesn't come back down and collapse on us, but we could have some good momentum. If we check, we could check the news on this. Let me go back to this one. Like I said, I have a few things to tweak about my setup here. If you check out my my first one, I did not. I was not ready to put it out to all of YouTube. It was meant to be unlisted, and it went to all of YouTube accidentally. So there you go. Oxygen expands commercialization rights to include Canada. Excellent. So further market penetration there. Commercialization rights Canada. Excellent. So and that's 5 days ago, 16. So what does this brief say here? Certain First Amendment developments. Human action. All right, include the United States and Canada, paid about $15 million immediate upon execution of the amendment. Further agreed. All right, if we look at the analyst estimates on it, we're not quite to the high analyst estimate yet. Some of this news might be a little bit too new for an actual price target to come out on it. But look at that that sideways trading support that we have right around $10 per share. I don't know, is this something that you see as more of a long-term play, a short-term play? Oh, call out for Avenger. I'm sorry. I am an Avengers fan, by the way. So, all right. So anyway, on Oxygen, I think that we might still have some room to run. And for me, because I don't really track it that well, I can't really comment too much on what I think is going to happen long-term for them. But if you take a look, I do like the Bollinger Bands for how they're happening. Look at these narrows that we have. And after narrowing, they settle for a little bit, and then you have a breakout. And the narrowing can indicate that the breakout's going to happen, but it can be in either direction, so to the upside or downside. So really depends on the sort of success that we get from Oxygen coming out of this, the results that play out. And I think that's going to have a lot to do with determining how the price action continues. You can see we peaked just for a moment above 2 standard deviations, and it pulled back toward the mean, but we're still floating somewhere in between. Let's go to a lower time frame. All right, so it peaked, we got a double top resist, but here we have a double bottom support. So that's nice because it sort of sets a range for us what to expect. So around $10.12 up to about $11. So that round number resist that we have of 11, making it over that today and staying above that, getting the body of the candle to be up over that $11, I think is really going to do us well. If you're playing this short term, check out the Bollinger Bands that are shaping up here. If you were to, for instance, buy in somewhere around like 1075, and then that round number resist that we have $11, that would give you 12.5 cents down from there. So 75, 63. So that would keep you above, within the bodies of these candles. I don't know if that's the best play. It might be one that might be just a little bit too whippy for right now, but you can see we had from the bottom to the top about a 50% retracement. So we didn't go too deeply retraced. So this thing could recover at least intraday as we watch that play out. So I think they have a lot of promise, getting the vaccine out and seeing how well it works. if we get really super positive news, that could really be upward pressure on the stock. You know, and if we get a lot of adoption reports out of that, and again, more upward pressure. All right, I'll take a look at Avenger quickly, and then I have to wrap things up for the market open here. So Avenger is one that I do pay a little bit more attention to, or I have paid a lot more attention to, and I really like their product. So they take, they do atherectomies is what they do for peripheral artery disease, and the doctor stock that I have is a title. I am working on my academic doctorate in educational technologies. Mathematics is my background, and I have a passion for finance, and that's the way that I do here. I do a lot with stocks and investing. So I just don't want you to know that I'm not a medical doctor when I talk about these things. I just know from what I've read about peripheral artery disease and treatment, and the fact that Avenger, with their ability to see inside of the actual blood vessels, is something that really helps to avoid damaging the blood vessels themselves when they go into people's peripheral arteries. And they're actually working on also getting FDA clearance for going and treating coronary artery disease. And that would be a repurposing of their tools, not necessarily new development of tools. So that would actually keep down on their R&D and on their overhead, and would certainly help out their bottom line and their top line. So more revenue because they have a bigger addressable market. And really for them, what it comes down to, the struggles that they face are market adoption. They need better market penetration. They have less than 1% market penetration right now in treating peripheral artery disease. And they have cited things like supply chain being a limitation to them going forward. So I don't think we haven't had an update for a while. There's only one analyst estimate on this for $2.50. I think my current cost basis for this is around $1.43. However, this is a long-term play for me that I will hold on to that. It is a smaller position because it's a smaller company. It's one that they have growth potential, but it's up to them to capitalize on that potential. So let's look at the daily chart and see what we can see there for how the prices have been moving. They have recently traded for under $1. So this is actually kind of awesome when you look at the daily chart, depending on your definition of awesome. Let me get rid of the Bollinger Bands here. MACD and RSI, they're not going to be any help here either because of a lot of the sideways trading that we've seen. So what we see when we look at this, and you can see the proliferation of their stock price, and it held for a while, but then we had tech and growth sell-off. But even that didn't manage to send us much below. We made it down to about 90 cents per share. So 95 down to 90 cents, that's sort of like the area of support that we have. And all this sideways trading is absolutely wonderful. And we can't make too much of the recent price action because as of right now, it doesn't seem to be too largely volume supported. And when you compare it to some of these other volumes that it had before, that's the sort of volume that we want to see coming in. Even if I did put the RSI up, it's not great for when you see the stocks consolidating. It has made it back up, excuse me, into a more bullish territory. So we could see the volumes pick up as we start to break through. We do want to watch the areas of resistance that we have here at like $1.30. So the sort of news that we're looking for out of Avenger, we want to hear that they're taking over more of the market, that they're controlling more of the market share. We want to hear that their supply chains are something that have not been a limitation for them, and that their light box technology that they're putting out, I think they just released the 3.0 version of it, maybe got approved for FDA by the FDA. That's something that you might want to look into. I keep on thinking about the NNDMs, their 3D printing project. That's something that really, I mean, I think it was great for them. They still have a long way to go. If NNDM can get into mass production, they're in good shape. But this is about Avenger. So Avenger, they got an excellent product, and they need more publications. They need more awareness of their product. And really, there's one other thing that I think about, and that's invasiveness. So if the treatment for peripheral artery disease by Boston, I can't think of the person who owns the market share right now. I'd have to look up their name again. But overcoming them. So if their product doesn't allow them to see directly into the peripheral arteries like Avengers does, you know, how much of a problem is that? I actually have an email out to a surgeon that treats peripheral artery disease, waiting to hear back. It has been a while, so I might have to put out another email to a few more to see if I can get a hold of somebody who actually does surgery, has experience in surgery for peripheral artery disease, and see what they have to say about how invasive it currently is and how necessary they feel a product like Avengers would be, or even their awareness of Avenger. That would all be really great. So the improvement that we have, it does reduce the invasiveness of peripheral artery disease. We need more publications to come out and talk about Avenger, sort of like what we saw with BNGO when their price took off, and it started turning more heads, and we started seeing more papers come out. That's more of what we want to see for Avenger as well, and I think that's going to really do a lot to help out their market penetration. We have a lot of resistance to get back to the prices that we were at before, so we could see the momentum come back into this. It could take one big positive catalyst to kind of give us that push and get us back into that like $1.50 to $2 range. That's one of those things that I think time is going to tell. Doc Thor stock, AMC new highs today. All right. Back to AMC one more time, and then I got to wrap this thing up. I appreciate all you guys for stopping by. Oh, this is a beautiful looking chart when we're looking at this for the daily. So I mentioned about this thing narrowing down between the bulls and the bears. If you watched my video from, I think I did one yesterday, I mentioned it, and I also mentioned it today in my pre-market video that I put out. So this is excellent to see that shape up in the daily. Here we'll go intraday. All right, that's the 30-minute chart. Let's get on the 5-minute chart. All right, so we barcoded for a little while, but then yeah, we actually did have some nice intraday highs here. We broke that the $60 mark, and that's still acting as resistance for us, getting over that $60 that we saw yesterday. We saw a lot of resistance right around there too, from 59 to 60. So this volume, we want that to hold out. It is nice when you look at the RSI. It is still staying in bullish territory. So really, we're looking to, if you guys are part of the ape movement, we're looking for the shorts who are in this to have to buy back those shares and to cover it. And one of the things that will indicate that to us is large volume spikes that would happen to take place along with the price action that will go along with it. So right now, we have decent volume coming out of this. It is tapering a little bit, but between a large price jump and combine that with a large volume spike, then we really know that the shorts are being caused to cover. We could see them trying to hold out for right now as long as they can, trying to hold off from having to cover, trying to wait it out. But there's only so much that they can do in order to wait that out. But yeah, this is excellent. We want to see that continue to remain strong throughout the trading day. And here's to working on more with equitable opportunities in the market. I was going to say market equity, but equity is actually a word in trading, so I can't talk about it in that same way as I would in an everyday context. All right, so thank you guys for stopping by. I really super appreciate it. Anybody who participated in the comments, excellent, and thank you. And I look forward to doing more of this over time, and hopefully with fewer tech issues to ramp it up. Good luck out there. Make sure you manage those risks. Make sure you stay well diversified. And if you have success stories, reach out to me in the comments and let me know. If you guys want to check out my Patreon, there's a link for that in the description. WEBULL is the trading platform I show on here. It's been great for me so far. So if you guys want to check that out, you can sign up, deposit $100. You'll get 2 free stocks. I get some free ones for the referral. And so thank you guys. It's been awesome. Subscribe if you haven't, and go get that money.